With us this afternoon to give remarks in his 22nd year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State University, Mr. Rob Fournier. Rob?
Thanks, Jason. Also, before I start, I want to give a shout out there to Dr. Turner, who helped put all this together, done a fabulous job. If you watch her, she's always following me around during these events because I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so she keeps me on track. So, Candace, thank you. And also Lauren and Jason and Gerald, they've done a great job in putting this together. My good friend Keith Williams said to me, he goes, I like this venue a lot better. He said, why didn't we just do this here every year? And I said, well, Keith, we used to play basketball games in here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember now. So, where have you been? I'm waiting 2 years for this. We've been through a lot the last 2 years as an athletic department. I'm sure each of you seen out here will acknowledge. The interesting thing about athletics during the whole pandemic, we kept competing. When the rest of the university shut down and went virtual, we were still going live over here. We practiced in masks. We tested ourselves 6 times a week. And that's that little finger thing that you do. No, ask those guys that were doing that antigen test early in the morning before they could go to practice. We canceled our first football season since there was a war in Europe, the one in the 40s. We moved our volleyball and our cross-country teams to the winter and the spring. We won a basketball championship right on this court without any fans. And when the university said, well, you got to be vaccinated in order to keep competing, 97% of our student athletes got vaccinated. So we feel the pain that you all felt. But I think there's a good lesson in there, and I think it's reflected in the student athletes we're inducting today. Student athletes are just wired differently. You give them a challenge, and they'll meet that challenge. And thanks to the president, who understood that, athletics was given an opportunity to continue while the rest of the campus was shut down. I've been waiting 2 years now to introduce this class, and I'm glad we've had this opportunity today. I'm going to go through and just make some brief remarks about each of them, as I normally do, so you can get to know a little bit more about them other than a statistical presence. Dylan Szegedi, men's diving. All the divers that are here knows I didn't say swimming, so. Every year at these Hall of Fames, we usually have a football person being inducted. There are just so many of them. And then we had a kind of a good run there back in 2011, some people have mentioned to me. And so, it's been natural that we've inducted some. But this year we're kind of inducting a football player who, found his prime in the pool. That benefited Sean Peters and Kelly LaCroix, not so much Paul Winters. But he brought that physicality and that determination and that mindset to the diving well. And you could see it in his performance and how he approached things. Dylan Szegedi was an 8-time All-American, twice winning a national championship. To put that in context, there's only 2 platforms in the NCAA, the 1 meter and the 3 meter. So every year, he went to the NCAA championships. He was an All-American. And in his final 3 seasons in NCAA competition, he won 2 national championships, finished second once, finished third twice, and finished fourth once. He became the first national champion in the diving for the men's team since Don Mason 31 years prior to that. And when he won the national championship as a senior in the 3-meter, he set a record which still stands today at 587.65 points. And the team during that period of time, well, the men's team finished 7th in the country, 6th in the country, 5th in the country, and 3rd in the country. He brought them all along. You know, I asked Dylan, I said, you know, what was it about Wayne State? I mean, what first interested you? He says, well, to be honest with you, I had never even heard of Wayne State. And he grew up in Toledo. But he says, one day, I got a letter of inquiry from Kelly LaCroix, who's here today, Kelly. And he said, I started to investigate the school and its swimming and diving program. And what he saw impressed him. It was the same approach he took to competition. And what he liked the most was the championship experience that had been created around swimming. Do you know, in the last 11 years, 20 swimmers and divers have been inducted into that room over there. He loved the consistency and the competition and the high level at which the swimming program had achieved. He also was 3 times the GLIAC Diver of the Year. He won 5 conference diving titles, and the other 3, he finished as the runner-up. The team won 3 men's titles as well during that period of time. I asked Dylan, I said, what ultimately was it that you liked about Wayne State? He said, it was the championship atmosphere. The championship atmosphere. Well, I got to tell you something. He's going to feel right at home over there because that's where we have the temperature set. Championship level. Dylan, stand up.
Dylan Szegedi. Dylan Szegedi, a 4-year diving letter winner 2011 to 2015. A native of Oregon, Ohio, Dylan was an 8-time All-American, a 2-time NCAA diving national champion. And additionally, he was named the WSU Male Student Athlete of the Year for 2013-2014. In GLIAC diving, Dylan was dominant. A 3-time GLIAC Diver of the Year on the 1-meter board, Dylan was a GLIAC champion as a freshman, junior, and senior seasons. On the 3-meter board, he won GLIAC titles during his junior and senior seasons. And when he wasn't the champion, he was the runner-up. At the NCAA National Championships, Dylan was just the 2nd Wayne State men's diver to win a national title on the 1-meter since Donald Mason Hall of Fame class of 1998. Then as a senior, he won the 3-meter championship with a school record score. Dylan, a secondary education major, also with a social studies teaching major, was a 3-year GLIAC All-Academic Team Selection, a 2-time College Swim Coaches Scholar All-American, and a 2nd-team COSIDA Academic All-American. He was on the academic honor roll 7 of his 8 semesters at Wayne State. Rob, it is my honor to present Mr. Dylan Szegedi for induction into the Wayne State University Athletic Hall of Fame.
Okay, first I'd like to thank Mr. Fournier, Mr. Clark, Mr. Weiss, everybody here for this day, honoring us, bringing us all together again. Once we leave college, everybody kind of does their own thing, and it's great to get back together and see old faces and reminisce on the past, if you will. I have been told by my mother and my coach to keep it short and sweet. The last time I did this, I got very long, so I will do my absolute best to keep it short and sweet. I have more people to thank than I could ever possibly do in any amount of time, but I'll do my best. My parents, mom, dad, my sister Macy, they have went with me all around this country, all over Ohio, diving, baseball, all over Michigan now, Texas, Alabama, New York, everywhere. They followed me, never missing a meet, never complaining, never anything like that. Nothing but supportive. They followed me every single place, that I went, and I could never have a better support system than my parents. As a diver, I dove for 16 years, 6 to 22. I had 2 coaches in my entire life. 2. My club coach, my high school coach, Scott Tenek, when I was a kid, he kind of laid the groundwork for me. He taught me how to be a diver. He taught me how to be an athlete. He taught me how to take things seriously. He taught me how to be a competitor. And leaving him was really hard. It was. He'd been my coach. It's all I knew. Right? I'd never had another coach. But he was great, and towards the end, we go to camp, places, and he would get me with other coaches because I needed to learn how to trust other people because he wouldn't always be there. And when I found Kelly, it was amazing. It was like nothing really changed. Although she and my high school coach are 2 completely different people, they both found ways to get the greatness out of me like I don't think anybody else could. Even at the hardest moments, we're all, athletes in here. The hardest moments are the times when you really learn, when you really can achieve something, right? When it's going great, everything's easy. You feel good, everything's awesome. But those deep, dark moments of practice, when it's, 7 in the morning, you're tired, you're cold, you have a lot going on, it's those moments where we really find out who we are as people and as athletes. And Kelly could always get me through those, even when I didn't want to. She could always find a way to get me to push through that practice, get me to push through that dive, get me to push through that group, whatever it was. She was absolutely phenomenal about that, working with me. That said, I can't stand up here and tell you guys about how easy it was and how it was 4 years of fun, right? It was easy. There was never any pain or soreness or anything like that. That'd just be, a load of garbage. That's just not true. It was really, really hard to achieve the goals that I achieved. It was extremely hard. Physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. Very difficult. And I think that's what makes me the proudest about being up here with my fellow inductees and other members of the Hall who are already inducted, is the hard work that it took to get here, and the passion and everything that I had to put into being an athlete here at Wayne State. I think that is what I am most proud of at this moment, is how difficult it really was on my body, on my mind, and just finding a way to push through and achieving my goals here at Wayne State University. A few more thank yous, and then I'm out of here. My friends at home, I have some of the greatest friends you could ever ask for. My support system, when I'd have a bad week or a bad meet, I could go home and it was anything but diving. Talk football, talk baseball, talk basketball, golf, whatever it was, but it was anything but diving. And I needed that at times. And my friends at home, they know who they are. They really helped me, have that bridge between business and diving, and then friends and, casual thoughts at home. My teammates as well are unbelievable teammates. Many of them are already in the Hall of Fame, have preceded me. There will be hopefully more to come after me. But my teammates were some of the greatest you could ask for. Carly Savald is here. She's a Hall of Famer, national champion. So many more. Jeff Grant, Emily Mitzelfeld, Rachel LaCroix, great friends of mine. Elizabeth, my girlfriend who I met here. Hopefully she'll be going in very soon behind me. I had the greatest teammates here that also pushed me. And when it was tough and everybody was miserable and we didn't like each other all the time, we always found ways to push each other to get better. And we always found ways to push each other to push our program further. And my time here on the swimming diving team was great. We competed at the highest level that this country has to offer each and every year that I was here. And a lot of that was Kelly, Sean, Bryce, Cowley, AJ, all of our coaches then who pushed us to be as great as we could be. And I'll say in closing that I think being an athlete is the greatest joy you could ever have. It's the greatest joy anybody could have. Because when you're done with it and you look back, you see the hard work that you put into it. Throwing school in with it, being a student athlete is hard. It's hard. I teach high school now, I coach now. I tell everybody, you want to be an athlete in college? Do you love what you do? Can you tell me standing right here that you love it? Because if not, don't waste your time and your money. Because if you love it, it's still hard. If you don't absolutely love it, it is going to chew you up and spit you out. But looking back at it, after your 4 years are done, or 5 for some, and looking back at it and your accomplishments and all the hard things that you pushed through, that for me is the greatest thing that I can look back on in my career. And I think a lot of other people would say the same thing. So thank you again to everybody, Mr. Fournier, for having us all here today. My fellow inductees, congratulations, and thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to the Hall of Fame class of 2021.
Have a seat when y'all get a chance.
You do take a picture of this there, so I'll put this back in. Take a picture of that there. So
Okay.
excuse me.
You want to step on over, step on over.
Brad, stand back up.
It's a picture. Thank you.